Mhm.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our meditation a day, and we're being hosted by EWN, Enlightened World Network. We have Master Spiritual Teacher here with us, GP Walsh, myself, Lisa Berry. And how this format works is we show up the first Monday of the month, the first Mondays of the month, and we get to share. Well, GP gets to share and lead a meditation. But first, we have a little tiny chat about it. We have a topic, then the meditation, and then I'll come back on and we'll chat a little bit more. So please, this is live. So if you are here with us, we love your comments, your questions, and anything you want to add or share. Just please use the chat. Today, I was really inspired to work with you are more than your body. Actually, GP softened it. I wanted to say you are you are not your body, and GP was like, "Well, let's add a little love in that one. You are more than your body." And GP, the reason why, well, a lot of reasons, but I think what we experience as human beings with bodies is we think, okay, I have a thought in my head, my mind. I have a feeling in my heart or my gut. I have a memory. I have a trauma. And it feels like all of those are really anchored in our body. And it's just there forever. It's solid. It's there. And we really identify with our body. So like right now, I have a wee bit of a headache, and I don't mind sharing that with people, but I'm like, oh, I have a headache. I almost like it's taking over like what I'm doing and stuff. But I know that even just doing this meditation, I bet you it'll be gone. Right? And I'm just wondering, where do things reside? If are they in our bodies, and are we embodying thoughts and feelings and circumstances, or is our body just walking through life?
Well, the important thing is before you can kind of examine the body and take it apart and see what's going on in there, um, is first to understand what is meant by you're more than the body, right? Which means who are you, right? If I'm more than the body, then I'm something. There's definitely a connection. There's a relationship, right? There's an intimacy there, right? But I'm something other than that and more than that, right? Because my body's changed over time, and yet I'm still experiencing it, right? So that we have evidence, right, that there's something much more stable. There's something really present. That's my granddaughter screaming, if you can hear her.
Embodying joy.
she's she's just embodying her. At this point, I think it's her displeasure,
Right. Oh, okay.
right? But it's kind of like the body is something that you kind of really inhabit intimately. And if you look at really little kids, right, it takes them a while to get the hang of it, right? It takes them a while to to get the spoon to their mouth. Right, it's just what is this thing? It takes us time to get used to it, which you could think of it as the equivalent of picking up a musical instrument, right? It's very clumsy, and you make bad noises and things like that. But if you stay with it, it begins to kind of integrate into you, right? That you have a feel for it, right? And people talk about that. If you've ever sat in one of those a race car, like a Formula One race car, there's no room, or the cockpit of like a fighter jet. I mean, you're like, you are it and it are one. There's no room whatsoever. It is a complete union. I had that experience when I did river kayaking.
I literally was gonna say, or maybe more people have been in a kayak than a jet or a sports car. Awesome.
And I'd never done it before, but it's that tight. I mean, just shoop right in there. You're on your knees. Part of your steering is your leg, your thighs against the side of the kayak. So after a while, you are the kayak. You've just completely inhabited it. So if you can use that as the analogy, you realize that that's what the body is. It is an instrument of expression that we are inhabiting. Right? And it's changing, it's growing all the time, and eventually it'll go zhup. It'll dissolve. It's going to transform into over the course of an entire lifetime, and you remain. So then what are you as being more of the body? I mean, that's really the big question, because we're so used to identifying with the body as ourselves, the characteristics of the body, the gender, the belief systems that we have, the feelings, the traumas, the conditioning, all of this stuff goes together to make up a sense of a person, a sense of identity, right? But is that actually who you are? Or is that just how you appear? The musician sits down at a piano and plays, and the sound that is produced is going to be a combination of the skill of the musician and the character of the piano itself.
Right.
It's going to be a union of those two things. The same musician on a different piano. When I was in music school, I practiced in the practice rooms, right? And they had basically the cheap, spin-it pianos in the practice rooms, right? But then it would be time to do a performance, and I got access to the 9-foot Steinway Grand. And I'd write a piece in the practice room. I'd sit down at the Steinway, and I'd throw half the notes out that I put in because the resonance of the instrument itself was so beautiful. I didn't need all the extra notes. It became very simplified. So it's this beautiful relationship between the body as the vehicle, your whole human life as the vehicle of self-expression, and then the self that is actually being expressed, which is the real you, that 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 indescribable part of you that's never really lost connection to the essence of you. It's never really lost connection to, when I call it source energy, call it God, call it the self, right? It doesn't matter what you call it. It's never been disconnected from you. That's your original being, which is informing you all the time, and it is that which is that is shining through. Your human life is the intersection between the formless and form, between that which is beyond all imagination and that coming into form that we can recognize and look at, like music in the song.
Right. And I love that as the that was actually the perfect analogy. And I'll just ask one more question before I let GP lead us. We're talking about expression, expressing, and which I'm thinking the body, and I'm thinking embodiment, and now I'm thinking suppression. So if our being, our spirit, gets to have this fun, kayak and body and form to like shoot around in, and it really wants to express this way, but it's suppressed. Does that, okay, so I just want to talk about embodiment. So if we're embodying, if we're allowing expression to come through, but then we suppress it, are we stopping embodiment, or are we just out of alignment, out of sync?
That's a better way to put it. We're really out of sync, because expression will find a way any way it can, right? I
Yes.
was using the example of being in New York in the '90s, and all of a sudden on the street I heard these kids were playing. They had drumsticks and paint and those plastic paint cans,
Yes.
and they were laying down a groove. It was like you couldn't help but move. I mean, it was good. I mean, I actually had a friend who was living there at the same time, who was a studio engineer, and he got some of them and brought them into a studio to record them
Oh,
because the grooves were just so solid. They were just so in the pocket. Um, and what was it? It's just the creative expression needed something. They found it, right? They found it. And they found, drumsticks they could get a hold of, and they just found something they could bang on and play with and start expressing themselves musically. Um, you have to think of the body as that, and but the body has to develop. It grows over time, and it's going to be limited by the environment in which it appears. So if you take a really promising kid and put it in a environment that's abusive and dull, they're not going to get much room for self-expression. You have a potential Mozart that dad insists that he's out plowing the North 40. You're not going to get a Mozart, right? And there will be a soul disconnect there that will be felt by the child. It's either going to have to be overcome, and that soul disconnect is trauma. That's what it is. It is the disconnect between what your true being wants to express in this life, and and the inhibitions that have been placed on the instrument through which it is to be expressed, which, if liberated, is the perfect instrument for whatever it is that is for you to be expressing in this lifetime. Whatever aspect of the infinite being is yours to be expressed in this lifetime, whatever your body is, that is the perfect vehicle for it, which is why it needs to be liberated.
I love that. And actually, we're going to be talking about liberation and liberating desire after the meditation. I'm glad you just touched on that lightly there, but I love that. Whatever the body that you have is the perfect one for your expression. So with that,
Yes.
I just love that. It was beautiful. I will let you take it away whilst we go into a short meditation. Please, everybody enjoy. We'll come back to your comments right after.
All righty. I will
Sit back.
reluctantly let Lisa go and mute her, um, and which is difficult to do, I might add. And so let's. I know there are some questions that are popping up there, and some, and ones that I can feel a lot of energy and yearning behind, which I definitely want to get to. But let's start by first going inward. Close your eyes. And coming to a place within us, just breathe and let your attention really focus on the breath. A burning question may want to it needs an answer, but for right this moment, I want you to set aside even your deepest questions, your deepest needs, to just for a moment just be present with the simple fact of your being and this beautiful thing, the body, which is just breathing, which you don't need to control. It does it all by itself. It's automatic. You can even say breath in, breath out to yourself to help keep your mind focused. So we're just distancing ourselves from a moment. We're disengaging from the normal patter of our minds that are always trying to figure things out, to get things done. But the answer to all our questions lies here, not in the mind. It lies here in just this sweet and simple sense of your own being. And when the mind wants to bring your attention back, say, thank you. I don't need you right now. I will come see you in a minute. Right now, I'm just being with me. And notice that the experience of your body is there, the sensations, the emotions, and even the thoughts. And they're important, they're essential. They are the vehicle through which you express yourself. But notice that there's just a sense of self that is aware of the functioning and the feelings in the body. Well, let's just give that equal time for a moment. What does it feel like to just be yourself? That self that could express itself in a million different ways. But for some reason, has chosen this particular form for this particular lifetime. and made it a perfect fit. And just set an intention to liberate not only you from feeling like you were limited to the body, but also liberating the body from feeling like it is limited to your environment, to your past, to the conditioning. And just see if you can tap into just a very simple sense of not just being, but well-being. The essence of this being is a very self-sustained sense of well-being. Now, when your mind jumps in, as it's wont to do, it will always be looking for conditions of well-being. It's going to look around at your environment, say, is there, I have a good relationship, do I have enough money, if my health. It's always looking for conditions. But this sense of well-being doesn't have conditions. It's just here. It's just present. It doesn't need any conditions in order for it to be sustained. It's inherent in your real being, in your deep inner being, your true self, your higher self, however you want to say it, which is always existing at the level of perfection and beauty. That sense is often overwhelmed by the conditions that seem to trigger in the body a sense of fear or lack or concern or worry or doubt. But while those are feelings running through the body, and they may cloud over that essential sense of well-being, they don't actually move it out of the way. They don't actually limit it or hurt it or stop it. Like the clouds in the sky can obscure the sun, but they can't really do anything to it. This is the answer. Finding that unconditional sense of well-being, also known as happiness, within ourselves is the answer to all trauma, to all fear, to all doubt, to all lack. Because once it is discovered in yourself, it can never, ever be lost. And so this is the practice. To return again and again and again to just this simple sense of being and how stable and healthy it feels. How rich and so many adjectives. so wealthy. The word wealth and health both derive from the same Old English word wheel. WEAL, which simply means well-being, in the flow, one with your own nature, which, no matter what the conditions are, cannot be lost. This is the fundamental energy, the fundamental vibration, the fundamental reality that we sync up with. This is the practice. And it redeems you by freeing yourself from the limitations of the form, and also frees the form to be everything it was meant to be for this life. So take another deep breath. And at this point, you have the option. You can let your mind back in, or you can just let it remain outside for a while longer. It's up to you.
Oh, thank you for that. I had to keep writing different things because I was just like, oh, I love that. I love that. And talking about being more than the body. And then we talked about, embodiment and liberation. Now I want to change the name of our thing, but I want to say from limited to liberated, or limitations to liberations, because our bodies, if we're not in sync with that fundamental energy that you're talking about of freedom, then our bodies can be very limiting and identified with and conditional. But in this sense, our bodies are so allowing us to liberate the expression, liberate what we so want to experience and just be.
Well, without the body, there's no possibility for experience.
Right.
Without the body, it's just formless being. It's not that you don't exist, right? It's a piano player without a piano.
Right.
It's that simple. The human is this crossover point between the formless and form, between the inexpressible reality and the fully expressed moment that you're living in.
Mm.
And if we really can embrace that, this moment will be the direct reflection of the higher self, the true self, the whatever name you want to give to that which has more names than it knows what to do with, and no name at all.
Right. And no name at all. Well, just while I have everybody here and we'll go and see these wonderful comments and questions. The reason why I was so caught by limited to liberated, or limitations to liberation, is because we are doing the final third of the three workshops coming up this Friday. So Eastern time, Friday night, 8 p.m. That makes it 8 a.m. or, something like that. Really early in the morning. No, not early, but early in the morning for the other side of the world. And it's called Liberate Desire and all desires. So the desires, there's a little sweetie pie. We hear you. Hello, Audrey. Here's DP's granddaughter.
Yeah, hold on.
Have
I'm gonna.
fun here. Oh, we lost you. We can't hear you now.
I'm good now. How's that?
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Hi, Audrey. Now she can hear us. Oh, she couldn't hear us before.
Couldn't hear us before now.
You were helping us learn all about liberation and running around in expression.
Yes. Having at the bit, Grandpa, can you get done with that?
We're almost done. We're almost done
yet? Go ahead.
Yeah. Audrey, if you can just give me 1 minute, then you can have Grandpa back all to yourself. But we are doing that workshop this Friday, and it is on liberating desire. And that's so that you can express yourself. You're going to have so many limitations that you might be thinking, why are they here? What is happening? How do I get past them? And those are just those conditions. So if you'd like to be with us for the final one of the workshop this round, then please join us. I'll spit out I believe it's omschool.ca liberate-desire. But I don't know if GP might be looking for it. So
Yeah.
if you'd like to attend that workshop, we would love, love, love for you to be there. And hello, let me say hello to everybody. David and Elaine, say hi
I
to
have this
Audrey.
one. That's before we change the name, but it still goes there.
Perfect. Yes, it does. Yeah. So if you just want to go to
Yeah.
omschool.ca/heal shame. And because that's what we're going to be doing too.
Right.
And so that's a wonderful thing. You'll find so much more by going to the link there. But David and Elaine, say hello to Audrey. And hello, hello. They're all the way over in England. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hello to you. And I'm going to backtrack here and thank you to Hassan, who is I had a lovely, I'm shining. Thank you. There you go. So Ava's here. We've got Christy. Hello, everyone. And Merck. Oh, I haven't seen that one for so long from Sweden. Wonderful. So did we answer your question there, Hassan, about trauma is residue in the body? Did that?
Yeah. It's a soul disconnect that puts the body into states where it has to do things that are actually unnatural for it. It's forced into a position of acting like somebody you're not, right? Because it's not safe for you to be fully yourself. And so you have to, and that's what the trauma is. The soul cannot express itself, right? Because the environment simply won't let it. And that's what we experience as trauma in the body. It's really like that.
We actually have quite a few things on trauma. So if Hassan, if you want to either just, I can message you back here or email me, lisa@omschool.ca. I can direct you to so many wonderful, helpful things that we've done. GP, you've got some stuff out there for on trauma, like how to heal trauma. It's magical. All right, David, the company I worked for 25 years just went out of business. So I am placing a lot of conditions on my well-being.
Yes, this is this is where the rubber meets the road. It's not easy. I agreed when you're suddenly confronted with something like that, but it is the opportunity to be proactive, to be as proactive as you need to be, take all the proper steps, but to use it as an opportunity to focus more and more on that inner sense of well-being that isn't conditional. Which means, part of healing trauma is owning your feelings. It's not a denial. You're not trying to push away, the reaction, disappointment and, 25 years and everything that you're not trying to do anything with that to try to suppress it in any way. You're welcoming it as the natural reaction to things. And as such, in that welcoming environment, you give it the space in which it can transform into something else. If you suppress it, you actually hold it in shape, you hold it in place. But if you are willing to really be present with it, with an enormous amount of love, that it will transform into something else. Because it's really just, what's happening is it's looking for another place of safety. That's all it is. And you want to be that place of safety for it. And if you can, it will find its way out into the world to find you another place. Because it's really smart.
It's genius. Oh, that was perfect. I would invite, I don't want to do too many invitations, but we do have something called the Looking Class. If you ever want to explore and work on some of these things, just, in a group setting, but with one-on-one with GP, we do have the Looking Class.
I do urge that because it's regular. It's consistent. It's every week.
It's every Wednesday. Yeah.
So, you're getting an exposure to it regularly. Which is really what it takes. Remember, it was repetition that created all our bad habits. So it's repetition that really undoes them and replaces them with those that are actually progressive and liberating in your life.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And Pavel, thank you. You're welcome for that. And Cara Lucy, yes, you're right. There's so many meditations. Do we just have strictly the playlist of meditations on the YouTube channel, or something to work on?
Let me check. I mean, it's all on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I can put them. I can see if I can make a playlist for it. Okay. Maybe we have some YouTube experts that'll volunteer to make a playlist for us.
Yes. Yes, if there are any, yes, we would love that. Anybody would like to put together a playlist, you get to listen to all of them, and just the transformation that will happen just by going through them and working with them, osmosis. Well, I think we said hello to everybody and got the
Well,
questions.
David made one more comment. My default is to blame me and beat me up. And yes, that is our default, right? But that's a learned behavior. That's shame, right? That's a learned behavior, part of your religious upbringing, uh, and uh, and all the shame you got put through around that. So whenever anything goes wrong, it's your fault. If anything goes right, it's God's credit. You get nothing. You get nothing but the crap. So you recognize it for what it is. That it is a knee-jerk reaction. Right? It's not the reality of your being. It is not your actual nature. It is a set of programmed responses in the nervous system, and that recognizing them that as such, you just love bomb that energy that wants to blame you. Recognize that what it really is the nervous system trying to protect you from what it anticipates to be horrible consequences, which you used to actually get. And so it was wise in the way it, if it blames you, holds you back, keeps you down, then it's guaranteed that you're not going to get smacked by the environment. The thing is that eventually our environments change. We grow up, but that mechanism doesn't know the war is over. And so it's kind of the strategy it uses because it had to for so long. It just assumes this is the way the world is. And when you're a kid, that is the way the world is. Okay? And so now we're bringing to it that love and acceptance that we didn't get then. And it will respond to it like a rescue dog. It will respond to love. I guarantee it.
Yes. And for David, there's two books. There's Angels in the Basement. I think that would be a wonderful book to help you out there. We've got the ebook there on the site. And yeah, Angels, I'm going to start with that one. I was going to say, healing at the root, but you know what? I think Angels in the Basement might be wonderful for you, David.
Yeah.
Anybody here with us today, you can always email me and I can help walk you through things. Different things will come to my brain, like, oh, this will be good for you, this will be good for you. So it's lisa@omschool.co. Just co. So if you want to do that or put a comment here, I can get a hold of you back this way. But for now, we'll let Grandpa go back and be Grandpa, GP Grandpa. And just thank you so much, EWN, for allowing us to, inviting us to do this. It's always an opportunity for me to get creative and have this time and be able to share with all of you for showing up. And thank you for your support and being with us as we do a short meditation together. So thank you. And thank you, Audrey, for your appearance. Okay, we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.